Christian Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Anti-Greed Gospel, Why the Love of Money is the Root of Racism, and How the Church Can Create a New Way Forward, by Malcolm Foley. Narrated by Terrence Kidd. Perhaps one of you will say, every day you talk about covetousness. Would that I could speak about it every night too. Would that I could do so, following you about in the marketplace and at your table. Would that both wives and friends and children and domestics and tillers of the soil and neighbors and the very pavement and walls could ever shout forth this word. For this malady hath seized upon all the world, and occupies the souls of all, and great is the tyranny of Mammon. John Chrysostom, Homilies on the Gospel of St. John. Introduction. Breaking the Cycle. 10 years ago, if you had told me that I would one day write a book on racism, I would have laughed at you. Sure, I wanted to write and contribute to scholarly conversations, but not about race. I had no desire to be another black man pigeonholed into being a race scholar. But the Lord had other plans, and a particularly powerful woman served as his instrument to make me reconsider what path I would pursue. Ida B. Wells, 1862 to 1931. In 1892, Wells wrote one of the most significant works of myth-busting in the lynching era, with the publication of her editorial pamphlet, Southern Horrors. In contrast to the popular understanding that the brutal lynchings of black Americans were acts of communal justice meted out against criminals, Wells framed lynching as a violent arm of white supremacy. In Southern Horrors, she also noted both the reason for lynching and the best way to stop it. After noting that black people were the economic backbone of the South, she suggested that black laborers withdraw en masse from the South to resist lynching. Why? Because the white man's dollar is his god. The appeal to the white man's pocket has ever been more effectual than all the appeals ever made to his conscience. If ever a quote could so briefly sum up the history of race and racism, it would be that one. Race is not primarily about hate and ignorance. It's about greed. It always has been. And the purpose of this book is that you might understand the unholy relationship between race and greed, best understood not as a marriage, but in terms of parentage. Race and racism are children of Mammon. Why say Mammon instead of money or riches? And why capitalize it? Very simply, when we discuss racism and mobilize people against it, we must remember the high stakes of what we're doing. We are talking about idolatry. Pleonexia, the Greek word variably translated as covetousness or greed in the New Testament, is the evil at root, the constant desire for more, the drive to accumulate. This desire was the impetus for the construction of race, and it continues to feed it. Our response to greed must be relentless. In the Apostles' terms, we must put it to death, because greed is idolatry. See Galatians chapter 3, verse 5. If this is true, then greed is a breaking of, at minimum, the first and 10th commandments, that we are to have no other gods before the Lord, and that we are not to covet. But we can go further. By the end of this introduction, you will discover that the making of race and racism is linked to the breaking of 7 of the 10 commandments. If that's true, as I believe it is, then we have quite the task ahead of us. The stakes are cosmic. We are engaged in a battle of gods, and this book is precipitated by the fact that rival gods require blood sacrifice. Mammon is no different. Jesus is not exaggerating when he says we cannot.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?